Let's do it.
I need some arms in the air. I need some noise.
All right, it is time to bring it on, my hockey hat pack peeps. It is time to bring it on down to the Hockey Hat Shack for another edition of Islanders Hockey Post Game Report. Okay, this is going to be a little different today. Well, actually, before I start, I should apologize for not getting the audio one up. Just the drive home, driving with other people and stuff like that, just didn't work out. Well, that's okay, no worries. And so anyway, this is the post-game report. The format for any live games, whether they're at home or on the road, is going to be a little different, and you'll notice during this show. So let's get to the shills. Let's get it out of the way, though it is important information. Check out, of course, first off, the hockeyhatpack.blogspot.ca. That is our website where we got lots of information about the hockey hat guy. That's me. And, of course, you can click through to the Charlottetown Islanders website. I'm also on Twitter at Hockey Hat Guy, and check that one out. Also on Facebook, of course, and we are the Hockey Hat Pack on Facebook. That is our Facebook page. Get over there, like us. We need you to like us. We gotta be liked. Also, the Hockey Hat Guy has a YouTube channel. Get over there, take a look at the videos, and subscribe. All right, the other information you need to know is what sets you up for the games, which gets all the information, will get you ready. This is what you need to know, people. First off, you need to go to the islandersgameday.blogspot.ca, where the Knoll Man will set you up with game day information, the basics. But, I mean, it's just like you got something in front of you to set you up right to the point, perfect for that game day. Also on Twitter, take a look at Islanders GM Day. That is the Islanders Game Day live tweeting. You get tweets before and you get tweets during the game, which is really nice, especially if you can't watch or listen or for whatever reason. It does keep you informed very well. Check out Check out at Jonathan_Dunphy. He also has lots of information during the week, setting up the games as well. Some obscure facts. He knows what he's doing when it comes to getting the stuff together. And of course, the last one on Twitter at Islanders Hockey. Of course, that is the official Twitter account of the Charlottetown Islanders Hockey Club. So, without further ado, let's get to, it's going to be a little different, people, but it's still called The Report. All right, this is going to be a little different. This version of the reports, like I said before, it's either going to be the home games that I'm at or an away game that I'm at, basically live games, of course. That because when I'm at the game, I'm more into the cheering and getting up and all that kind of stuff. It's a little more difficult to actually do, step-by-step statistics. So basically for these games, I'm going to give you the lowlights, a little more detailed lowlights and a little more detailed highlights as well. But I don't like starting with the highlights. I like getting the lowlights out of the way. I like ending on a good note. So let's start with the lowlights. Well, we're 0-6 in the last 6. It is a losing streak, and it has not been fun. That first period was a rough one. 3 goals, very quick. The power plays were definitely being given out to the Moncton Wildcats. Some penalties deserve to be called against us, and some didn't. But again, we're continuing to go, and it's really not enjoyable as a fan. But the good fans stick with the team, and that's what I am, and the rest of the Hockey Hat Pack are. And we are going to keep cheering for the Charlottetown Islanders because we know we got a talented team. There's something going wrong right now, and they need to figure it out and get back to their winning ways. So let's get into this is a lot of this stuff is about the trip itself. I had a good time on this. This is my first road trip to another arena, cheering on the home team or cheering on the visiting team. And it was an interesting experience. When we first got over there, we were sitting right behind the bench, which was a really interesting perspective. It was really cool that the coach right before the game started, he saw us and just gave us a little head nod and a wink kind of thing, and you could tell the vibe on the bench was really good. It was a great vibe on that bench, and it was really cool to see how invested the coaches. Like, he was up on the bench yelling. He was really trying to get them motivated. They had a timeout after the 3 goals when they switched Bebo out for Brassard. And really, Bebo, I think maybe one of those goals he could have had, but the other 2 really weren't his fault. He was kind of left high and dry. So, and there was the power plays, of course, as well. So I don't want to knock the defenseman too much on that one as well, because Moncton was really flying right off the bat. It was a crazy first 5 to 7 minutes of the first period. But anyway, I want to talk about the section we were in. Now, I didn't know at the time. I found out that we were in one of the more rowdy sections of the Moncton Arena there. And I found out pretty quick. I had people heckling me, but not in a good way. And this is what I'm going to bring up here as a low light. I have it entitled Good Hecklers, Bad Hecklers. When we were in section, I think it was 23, there was people swearing left, right, and center. All but there was one person behind us that seemed to be pretty nice, and he was a Moncton fan, and I was talking to him a little bit. But every time I yelled, I had either people swearing at me or they'd be trying to mimic me, and it was like that stupid childish way of doing it. It's like, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, if you're gonna heckle, do it better than that, man. Come back with something a little more intelligent than just So I just was like, I'll forget this, and it was really difficult. This is the other thing. It was really funny about being there is because I yell so loud. And when I'm cheering for the team, I was right in front. Like the glass was like right here. This is the perspective. And I just was like, I would yell, and then the yell, of course, would bounce back and hit me right in the face, basically. I was giving myself a headache, and you'd have to yell up over the glass. And that was very difficult to do. And then on top of it, I didn't want to yell too loud. I didn't want to cheer too loud because I didn't want to out yell the coach. By the way, Gord Dwyer has a very loud voice. He's got that perfect coach getting the players' attention while they're on the ice type of voice. Really, really good. And so I didn't do that. So and then it just kept getting worse. The heckling was there, and then it was really interesting. I'm sitting there, and I look back, and I just I heard this old guy yelling a little bit and stuff, like older gentleman yelling. And he was very well shaved and nice haircut and dressed. It looked like he just came from church to the hockey game or something, right? Anyway, so it was around the time that I believe it was DePaulo he took a penalty, and he deserved to get that penalty. And he went into the box, and the place went nuts. The place on our side went nuts, and this old guy was dropping. He was saying everything in the book when he was swearing, and I was like, what is going on? This is bizarre. And the vibe in that section just felt not good. It wasn't fun. And that was the bad heckling. Now, what we did was we ended up moving over to section 10 for the start of the second period. Now, that was a different story. It was night and day. Oddly enough, it was brighter over on that side. But but anyway, over in section 10, of course, there were Moncton fans and stuff like that. But they weren't heckling me, like they weren't swearing at me or stuff like that. Or they weren't, like really being nasty, or really being stupid or anything like that. It was good fun. It was back and forth, just like I would say something, they would say something. It would be back and forth kind of stuff. And you could tell that the fans on that side were having fun. And it wasn't mean-hearted kind of, heckles, and stuff like that. It was just kind of like, look, our team's doing better than your team or something like that. And, or if they scored a goal, like I'd have like it'd be like, go home, man, or something, like there was nothing. It was good, clean fun that way. And that's part of hockey too. You can heckle the visiting crowd. Well, I mean, that's part of it. But don't be nasty. Don't be stupid. If you're stupid, stupid people should keep their mouths shut or learn how to talk smart, because it was totally night and day. So that second and third period was very enjoyable. But yeah, good, bad hecklers. The reffing was not very good. There was a few incidents that I just shook my head. There was one point that we were down 4-1. We scored a goal. It was 4-2. And they called the goal, they took the goal back from us. The goalie got knocked down. Now, the goalie embellished, and I understand that goalies embellish sometimes, players embellish sometimes too, to try to get the ref to say, hey, look, I fell or got tripped or whatever, call a penalty against that dude over there. I get that, okay? But he was really embellishing this goaltender, and the ref really bought into it. And I just thought, we were turning it around. It was good. It would have been 4-2. The momentum was on our side for sure. The Islanders were really starting to get it together, and they took it right away from us. There were a couple other penalties as well that I just couldn't believe weren't called, and the reffing was really bad. Now, I did hear from a fan, an Islanders fan, that said it's been like that for years in Moncton, and that's why there's that rivalry. Now, I don't know that for sure. I'm not getting into that realm of like, oh, the ref was this and the ref did that, and and he's being biased. I'm not doing that because I don't know. But after I heard that, I went, I don't know. I got to think about it a little bit, but it could have just been coincidence. But the reffing really seemed to be on the Moncton Wildcats side. And the last thing in the lowlights is the missing in action players. And of course, and on this show, I'm not going to mention names of people unless it's something good. That's my rule for this show. I don't want to do that because there are some older players on the team that are not doing what they need to do. And you know who you are. The fans know, the fans that really watch the game, paying attention to it and seeing how individual players are doing when they're on the ice. It's one of those situations where it's like you want to really get their attention and say, hey, man, what's going on? Pick up your socks, because you got younger players that are following your lead. It's not all the older players, okay? It is not. But there are some that right now have a lot of talent, and they are just not doing what they need to do. They're not living up to their potential, and that is the hard thing. It's hard to see losses, but I think what's even harder is seeing individual players that are talented not living up to that potential when they have this great opportunity to be playing in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Junior Major? I can't remember. The Q. That that you don't want to see them waste this opportunity. The next step is the NHL. I mean, you can't get any closer than this. This is your opportunity to shine, to show the agents and the scouts and all this, to show them how good you are. And you cannot, or the term of, you can't just, sit back and just go on what you have done in the past. You cannot do that. Okay. You may have hype. You may look intimidating and big or whatever. Maybe you've done great things in the past, but you have to keep doing it. That's the part of it. That's the way it's got to be. And these certain players are not doing it at all. And I hope that there is a moment in time that it clicks and they go, hey, I gotta start doing this. I gotta figure it out. And I wish every one of those players luck in trying to get their individual games on track, because until that happens, the team is going to sputter and keep losing games. The goaltenders can't make all the saves. A guy like Sprong, who is she's got to be the Rookie of the Year candidate. If the season ended now, he would be Rookie of the Year. Captain Jack can't do everything either, and he has done very well too in leading this team on the ice. All right, that's enough of the lowlights. Let's get to the highlights, and there were a lot of them, even in this loss. The one thing I really enjoyed seeing was I was sitting pretty much in between two owners when we went to Section 10. One was Joel Ives and one was Darren Gray. There was another guy, I don't know who he is. He was wearing one of our black jerseys. He was sitting with a blonde woman with blonde hair. Actually, she was all blonde. No, and I'm not sure if he was an owner or just a fan. But anyway, back to Darren Gray and Joel Ives. It was really interesting because you could tell that they were, I mean, obviously they're financially invested in this team, but they're very emotionally invested as well, which is really nice to see. That hockey fan investment that we all do with either our CHL teams, our NHL teams, or other sports that we follow. It was great to see that. And it was very interesting because Joel Ives was on one spectrum of it where he was very, he was getting into it more. He was yelling more and stuff like that. And you could tell it was that good kind of cheering, loud cheering. That was great to see. It was really great to see, especially as a fan. And then I had Darren Gray to the left of me, who was very quiet, but you could tell he was watching the game very intently. Like he really was. He looked like an NHL scout the way he was watching the game. And it was really great to see both sides of that coin, because you can tell that they were both totally emotionally invested in what was going on the ice. And I even talked to them after the game and about different situations, players, and things like that. And you could tell that they really are watching these games intently. And that's a great thing to see on for a fan like me that comes out there and, I really invest myself emotionally and sometimes physically and, during the game. But anyway, that was great to see. The Ives family, speaking of Joel Ives, the Ives family were all there, and that's always great to see. Of course, I already mentioned, that Joel Ives was very pumped up and cheering loud for the team and stuff like that. And of course, his wife Danielle was there as well with, of course, the Islanders hockey super fans, the Ives sisters, Abby and the hockey hat girl. And she seems to like that name, Marcy. That was great to be hanging out with them as well. I chatted, actually, when we moved from Section 23 to Section 10, ran into Matt Bursey and Cole Hutchinson that were playing. They were scratches for the game. And it was great talking to them. And I was asking them about different things like videos like this that I've been making, the shows I've been making and stuff, getting lots of positive feedback from the players, which I love hearing from the fans. That's great. That's great too. But I really want to hear from the people that I am talking about, meaning the players and stuff like that. So that was great, hearing that kind of feedback and stuff. And they remembered things from, especially the news desk, segment, my first news desk segment, which is a little more comedic, right? And they remembered things from it, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, anyway, guys, good health and good times ahead of you, because I really enjoy talking to the players as well. And of course, we drove over with my wife, a lady my wife works with. Her name is Nora, and we drove over with her and her husband, Scott. And we had a good time chatting about the team there and back. And it was a lot of fun. Interacting with the fans is really, really great. I talked to I talked to Nolan, who runs a lot of the online island things. Talked to his father. I ran into a few other fans that I had never met before, but they were Islanders fans. I even talked to a lot of Moncton fans, and I had an interaction with another Moncton fan, but I'll get into that in a little while in the shout out section. And I have physical evidence to show you pictures. Anyway, that's the end of that, people. We've went through the lows. We went through the highs. Now it's time to go inside. This hat, the hockey hat. It is time to go deep inside the hockey hat, where we will be talking about the team and Coach Gordie Dwyer. Let's do it. All right, we are inside the hockey hat, and we're going to talk about something that I heard from a fan not too long ago. It was very recent, and the one thing that came up was they were wondering, with all these losses we've had, has the coach lost the team? Now, hockey fans know what this means, but I'll put it all together. The coach losing the team means that the players aren't listening anymore. Okay. Now, I had alluded to it before, the perspective of watching behind the bench and when they went down 3 goals. I was watching the coach and how he was, and with the players, you could tell before that game started that they were ready to go. They looked determined. They looked focused. The coach looked, he looked up. It was almost like he knew that he was going to war with soldiers that were ready to fight. He had that look in his eye, and that was a great thing to see. So, 3 goals went in. Coach called a timeout, switched the goalies, and my wife, who's the photographer here at the Hockey Hat Pack website and the shows and everything like that, I'm giving her props right now. And she's not off the camera. I'm just doing that because I'm just being nice. But anyway, she got a really good shot of the players and the coach. And I want you to take a look at this picture, okay? And you tell me if you don't think this is a team that is listening to their coach. They are looking at him very intently. They were every word that was coming out of his mouth, they were listening very intently. I mean, there's not a look on that bench that's checked out and on the ice. They want to know what's going on, and they want the coach to give them a hand and help them get back into this game. So for people that are thinking that, for fans that are thinking that, when you go through a losing streak like this, you think of everything. But I don't know if this is it. And now, again, this is just a picture that was taken, and this is just my point of view of what I saw yesterday afternoon, but I really don't believe the coach has lost this team. And I hope he hasn't, because, he seems like a very good coach, and we got a very talented squad. So hopefully, whatever's going wrong with this team, hopefully very soon, preferably before Thursday in Bathurst, that they figure it out. Come together, guys, talk, practice, do whatever you have to do. get together for a big team dinner or something. I don't know. I've heard so many different ways that teams bond together and deal with the problems. Whatever needs to be done needs to be done. And hey, that's all I got for inside that hat. This hat is now empty. All right, it is time for the freaking soldier of the game, which of course is my player of the game. I'm gonna have a little drink here. I gotta clear my throat before I say it. All right, for the first time ever since we've been doing the freaking soldier of the game, we have our first back-to-back winner, and that is defenseman Julien Leduc, and his Twitter is at jleduc27. Yes, now this is an unsung hero kind of player that I think has gone under the radar because he hasn't been, flashy like a Sprong, or hasn't, put in a whole bunch of points or anything like a Nevins or a Sprong. And then, of course, we have our goaltending tandem that is spectacular. But every time that Julien Leduc has been on the ice, especially these last two games, every shift I've seen him, he's doing something. He's either skating hard, hitting hard. He's getting back into the defensive zone if they're charging down the ice. He seems to be putting his body on the line if he needs to stop block a shot or whatever. Like, he seems to be doing it all. And that is a really great thing to see. And those are the hockey players. Yes, they don't get enough credit. And that is why the Hockey Hat Guy is giving you credit, Mr. Leduc. You are the freaking soldier of the game, 2 in a row. And hey, keep up the good work. Anybody that seems to be, playing in a lackluster way right now, take a look at what Julian's doing. He seems to be checking hard and playing. He's doing what he needs to do, and that's great. And that's great. That's how hockey teams win, when you get all these players playing that way. And you guys were doing that before. When we were on that winning streak right off the beginning of the season, you guys were doing it. You guys were firing on all cylinders, and you were all freaking soldiers. All right. Next game, I alluded to it already, actually, but we're going to say it again. It is November 7th in Acadie Bathurst against the Titan. Yes. And so Thursday night, it will, of course, be on the TELUS. And I want to also, while I'm talking about the Titan, I want to let you know that if you are a fan of the Titan, or hey, you're just even a fan of the Q, you need to follow a guy that I've been following for a while. He follows me too. It is the Brian Willett. I probably am not saying that name right. I'm saying it like an English person that grew up in southwestern Ontario. But he runs the live tweets for the Titan, and his Twitter account is that he runs, that is at AB Titan Live, and he does a very good job. He totally doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't miss a beat at all, and that's great to see. And I've had some good communication with that guy too, Mr. Brian, because I know I'm saying your name wrong. Okay, well, I'll have to say it wrong again because I also want to pimp his Twitter account, his own Twitter account, his personal Twitter account. It's he's always on there tweeting away. I don't know, he's got like 10 million tweets or something like that. It's a lot. But I follow both, and he is at the Brian Willett, or maybe Willet. I'm not quite sure. But I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong, man, because I follow you and I enjoy all of your tweets, whether it's personal tweets or the Titan live tweets. And speaking of tweets, we got to go to the tweet of the night. That's right. And tonight it is, yes, one of the Hockey Hat Pack people, the peeps that are following me on Twitter and seem to like what I'm doing when I'm at the arena. And she was there. I mentioned her before. She was there last night with her family. This is Danielle Ives, and she's at Danny Mac on Twitter. And she sent me this message, and a few other people, And it came with a picture as well, which is really great. And it says, someone loves at Islanders hockey when she sleeps in the jersey. All right, I'm going to show that picture right now, and it's of her daughter, Marcy, aka the hockey hat girl, excuse me. And take a look at this picture right now. And there she is right there, worn out from 3 straight days of cheering. I mean, I can't even imagine how, she lasted that long. And, I've been told that I'm a super fan. Nah, she's got me beat. Maybe because she's younger. No, not beat. Well, that helps. But no, she is a big time super fan because she just goes the whole game. Cheer, cheer, cheer. She started cheers in St. John. She's fearless. And that is great to see. We need more fans like you, Marcy, more fans like your sister Abby. Just having a great time, jumping up and down, dancing and cheering on the home team. It doesn't matter if you're at East Link Center or you're in Moncton or anywhere else, Harbor Station, St. John, it does not matter. It's great to see. And keep up the good work, Hockey Hat Girl. All right, I'm going to talk about a new segment. We're not starting it tonight. We're going to start it. It is going to be for the home games only, not the road games. Unless I'm actually there, maybe. I'm not quite sure yet if we're going to do it, but I'm definitely for home games. It's going to be called Fan of the Night, and what it will be is I'm going to look for a fan as the game's going on, and hopefully get a snapshot of them. Put it up on the post-game report. I may not know the person's name, but hey, if they're doing a great job, they deserve to be shown, And I'm assuming if they're eligible for the Fan of the Night here on the show, then then I don't think they care if their picture's being taken. Anyway, this is going right into the shout-outs. I love it. And I got to shout out, it's so funny, but I got to shout out the Moncton Wildcats mascot, Wild Willie. And right now, I'm not sure what our mascot is. We're still working on it. I've heard that they're working on it really hard because they want to get it out ASAP, get that mascot out ASAP. But I'll tell you, I hope he's a lot like Wild Willie, because Wild Willie was great from the moment on. When I saw him, right when I came in the arena, he posed for a picture with me, and you could tell he got very sympathetic. He was animated. He was friendly, but yes, he was sympathetic. And take a look at this picture of what happened at the arena. Yes, there it is. There's Wild Willie and me hugging because I needed a hug. It was a rough game, and Wild Willie was willing to give me a nice big hug. So, let's put it on. The hat is on, but my hockey hat is off to you, buddy. Wild Willie, one of the best mascots I've ever come across. All right, I also want to mention a shout out to my first ever Moncton Wildcats follower, and her name is Lindsay J. She's at MLSIBE, I think that's a J O. MSLIBEJO. I'm not going to try to even say that. I'm not even quite sure what it is. But anyway, it's nice to see fans from the other teams following me, because I love all the fans. All the ones that are not the ones that are rude and crude and just there to be fools. I want to be there with I appreciate the fans of the entire Q, if not the CHL, any fan that likes to have a good time and cheer on the team, but do it in a way that they're not wrecking good times for everyone around them. So thank you very much. I had a great experience in Moncton. Once I got out of that section and once I got over, I talked to other fans. It was great. It was great. And I would go on a road trip in a second. Again, I totally would, because it was so much fun. It was just so much fun. It was such a great experience. So I suggest any of you out there hockey hat pack peeps or just Islanders fans that tolerate me, that you need to do this at least once. But I'm telling you, once you do it once, you'll want to do it again. So anyway, until next time, I want you all to keep your stick on the ice and don't get stuck.